Lovely morning sesh. Just 5 quick exercises. Pike push-ups, uneven chin-ups, front lever pulls, dips, and ring push-ups. And massive arm, chest and back pump. Nothing for the legs, but that's okay. All done in about 25 minutes. At home with just a pair of rings.
What's up, folks? We're back with another episode of the Training Away series. And you might say, John, what is the point of this series? You're just showing us a bunch of workouts that are all basically the same. And that's absolutely true. So the point of this series is to show you over the period of 2 months every single workout I actually did, every single set and every single warm-up. So everything that could be in any way considered fitness, I'm going to be sharing in this series. And the idea is to show you here quite literally just how little work really needs to be done to sort of maintain your strength and muscularity while you're traveling for an extended period of time. At the end of this series, I'll make some more long-form videos where I'm actually talking about sort of the lessons learned and the gains I either made or didn't make. But I think it'll be quite interesting to just have every single set that I ever did during this entire period out there in the open for people to see. I think people will be struck by how simple, how basic, and honestly, just how not that impressive these workouts actually look. But nonetheless, they can be quite effective. So normally I'm all about effective programming and I'm all about applying progressive overload and just sort of applying the theory and the time-tested methods of training to my own training. I think that's a very good way to do it, and it makes sense to sort of control everything we can while we're at home in our regular routine, and we sort of can control everything. But when you're on holiday, when you're visiting friends and family, when you're traveling in a new place, you simply can't control all of these things. Or maybe you could, but the effort that it would take would sort of take away from the actual main experience that you're trying to do. For instance, I'm sure it could be very effective to be working out 5 times a week while I was traveling. However, if I took the time to do this, then I would sort of be missing the whole point of traveling in the first place, which is to have new life experiences and to reconnect with my friends and family and do things that I can only do with those people in those special places, right? So while I'm traveling, I want my fitness to be very, very simple and very, very quick and very easy to fit into an otherwise somewhat busy schedule. So the programming that I'm doing does not need to be optimal. I'm just trying to find something that's good enough to keep up the habit, keep up the stoke, and keep up the level of fitness while I'm on the road. Because while I'm traveling, I'm going across time zones and I'm getting jet lagged, right? So my sleep is not optimal. My sleep's really poor. This session, I think, is like day 6 of jet lag or so, and I'm almost fully on US Western time zone, but still feeling a little bit fatigued, honestly. My nutrition is also not optimal during this time. I've been sharing a bunch of meals with my family, including eating out a lot. I'm not getting nearly as much nutrition as I normally would be, and I'm starting to feel it. I can feel those effects on my body. However, I also want to spend those times sharing those meals and those nice special moments with my family, and I want to enjoy eating things that I don't normally eat where I live. So the key tenet here is, how can I work out in the simplest way possible? Well, for me, the simplest method of working out that I've ever discovered, especially for traveling, is high-intensity training. HIT is so goddamn simple, it boggles my mind. So in this workout, I'm literally doing 5 exercises with 2 warm-up sets. Each exercise, I'm aiming for somewhere between like 7 and 15 repetitions and trying to go till failure. And then after I hit failure, I'm doing partial reps or negatives or isometrics or some sort of variation in order to create an effective drop set. And that's it. Then I rest a little bit and then do it again on the next exercise. And it's just so fast. This entire workout took me 25 minutes in the morning. So I woke up at my cousin's house and people were just sort of milling around, having coffee and tea, getting about their breakfast. And while everyone's faffing, I just go outside and spend 25 minutes to myself and reap the benefits of that for the next several days. So if you're on holiday and you're having trouble working in your training sessions, the first thing I would recommend is to try to just identify when you have downtime. Usually for people, first thing in the morning is probably the best time. 1, because you have plenty of energy, and 2, because most people, like your friends and family, anyone you're traveling with, probably just does basically nothing for the first hour of their day. So you could be getting jacked as. Why not? The second thing I wanted to talk about in today's episode was progression. So again, normally I'm all about rigorous progressive overload, where I really honestly try to beat my previous best in every single workout. So when I'm working on weighted movements, usually this means that if I've hit the top of my rep range in the previous session, I'll plan to add 1 or 2 kilograms for the next session so that I'm automatically progressing. With bodyweight exercises while you're traveling, it's a little bit more complicated to do this because you're not always going to be able to add weight or like make the progression harder every single time, because the jumps can just be very large with the bodyweight movements. So this is again one of the reasons I really like high intensity training for thinking about progression while traveling. The idea is simply that with high intensity training, you simply try to give every single set your absolute all. You leave literally nothing in reserve. You don't leave a single rep or a single ounce of energy. When you finish your concentric reps, you do isometrics. When you can't do any more isometrics, you do partial range of motion. You just keep going until you can barely move at all. And in this way, you're still progressing your effort and sort of your muscular involvement each session. So even if you can't objectively measure that the load went up or that you completed more repetitions or something, you know that you're giving it all on the actual day, and that should, theoretically, be enough to stimulate muscle growth. I'll bring up a couple things from my training log here. In this session, I changed the order of push-ups and Bulgarian dips. Because dips are harder, I decided to put them earlier in my workout this time so that I can do more repetitions. So you can see I added 1 dip over the last session, which was great. But on the other hand, I actually got 4 less push-ups than the previous one. And of course, this makes sense. It's a bit of a trade-off. An exercise that you put early in your workout is going to get more energy when you're more fresh, and after you've done a high intensity set to beyond failure, those same pushing muscles are going to be tired for the second one. So can I really say that I progressed this session over the last session? Honestly, I'm not sure. And while I'm traveling, I just don't worry about it too much. I focus really on putting my absolute all into every set, and over time, when I get more data points, you will see that I do progress the reps over time. But making even a small programming tweak like this, just changing the order of 2 exercises, it's going to throw off your progressive overload, so just don't worry about it. We're just trying to work out hard. When you have more data points over several weeks, you'll start to see the trends showing, and then you can correct accordingly. As I mentioned last time, which was the first time doing Bulgarian dips, my shoulder hurt a little bit. And so this time you can see in my training log, I wrote a little comment on that exercise that I said, still questionable on right shoulder. And so basically it wasn't any better and it wasn't any worse. And so for me, that's the green light to just continue trying to get stronger. Generally speaking, when I have a little bit of tweaks and I continue to push the same exercise and it doesn't get worse across the first session or 2, it will often get better shortly afterwards. So I'm going to keep trying it and see what happens in the next one. And so this is my second session doing ring push-ups, high intensity style, and my God, you have got to try this. This exercise works so well for high intensity training. It's like unbelievable. First of all, the range of motion is just ridiculous. With my elbows flared wide, I can get such an amazing pec stretch at the bottom position, and then I have to fight all the way up, and it's actually decently hard because I have to stabilize the rings, and then at the top I can squeeze my hands together, and it just feels so good in the pecs. Like, honestly, I reckon the feeling of this is perhaps my favorite of any of the exercises I'm doing right now. And what's so good about it is because I'm just using my body weight, I can just immediately, once I fail, use the rest of my body to pop back up to the top position, and I can do force negatives, really feeling the stretch. Then for a proper drop set, I can drop to my knees and do full range of motion reps until failure. And then when I can't even do knee ring push-ups anymore, I can just do a couple regular push-ups as well. And oh my God, the pump is just insane and I absolutely love it. Awesome, folks. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Let's get strong for life together.